Welcome to Vator Box. I'm Bambi Francisco.
And I'm Ezra Roizen.
This week we have Aiden Senkut. He's a very active angel investor. He joins us as our guest host. Aiden, you've invested in 40 companies. Maybe one of these companies that we'll take a look at you'll be interested in investing in as well, possibly, if they're open. Anyway, this week we're taking a look at Thread, which is an online dating site. So we're going to take an online dating site that leverages Facebook. We're going to take a look at Brian Phillips. He's the CEO and founder. Give his pitch.
Hi, I'm Brian Phillips. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Thread.com. We're online dating that doesn't suck. And the premise of Thread.com is the best people to meet are friends of friends. So we leverage Facebook Connect and let you browse and search your friends' friends and then ask for introductions and information about your friends' friends. The big problem we're solving is the best quality people are not on dating sites, but they're all on Facebook. I just was telling Bambi how I do believe my future wife is probably on Facebook. I just have a search problem. I need to find her. So the best quality people are on Facebook. The second big problem we're solving with regard to dating is success rates. So if you were to venture on a dating site, you could email some people of interest, but you actually get a fairly low conversion rate. You get relatively few responses. In contrast, if Bambi was to introduce me to one of her friends and say, hey, you should meet my friend Brian, he's great, you should go out for coffee, that's like a 99% conversion rate. The person on the other side is probably going to say, yeah, sure, I'll go meet Brian. So we have great people and really high success rates.
It's an awesome idea. About 3 years ago, I said that that online dating sites would be in trouble because they're social networks. So, and what are people doing on social networks? Dating. This is just a great way to organize the information that's already there.
Yeah, I wrote a piece probably around the same time which said that many social networks lacked punch for like compelling reason to really want to do stuff or accomplish something, especially from a monetization standpoint. And so Match.com was a social network that had real purpose. And so I think if you combine dating with social media, there's a real active reason for people to want to go search and engage and find stuff and then actually be able to make some money, which is attractive.
Mm-hmm.
I think so, and I think the thing that was really refreshing about the company is that it's amazing when you look at Match.com and eHarmony, there hasn't been any innovation in the space for a long, long time. And in fact, their traffic charts, especially Match.com, you can see it's kind of starting to drop a little bit. So it's a great, refreshing idea, and I think the company is definitely onto something interesting there.
And I think he did a great job with the pitch. Nice, consolidated, talked about everything, including the business model and how they're going to get it out there. Well, obviously leveraging Facebook.
Yeah, and I mean, as we mentioned before we started filming, the most shocking thing is that no one's tried to do this before on Facebook. So that's great news for the Thread because they figured out how to jump in front of something that is like so completely obvious that it's fantastic. And no wonder they were able to raise the Hall of Fame lineup of early stage investors they were able to put together because I think everybody looks in. It sounds fun. It sounds hip. You can see where there's a lot of scale in it. And so I think all the little check boxes that you'd want to participate in as an early stage investor, the question becomes how does it become a really big business and where do they start to drive some meaningful revenue from? Because we've seen on one hand companies like Zynga become hugely successful companies leveraging the Facebook platform. On the other hand, we saw iLike and going more sort of the money back route and not seeing the same lift. So I think we've seen cases where companies become massively successful and they're able to do that. On the other hand, there's other guys who took a run, got very big, but weren't able to really get a consistent business model running.
So that's an important point. In fact, one of my strategic bets was 2 years ago, the intersection of social networks and social gaming. Mm-hmm. I figured it was not just it was an important trend, and it was important in the sense that people love gaming, and it is only natural when you can play games without having to download an app and do it with your friends. And I think that was the only major area where I saw significant business potential in terms of revenues. And like you said, I think using Facebook Connect and leveraging the Facebook platform is great in terms of traction. And the thing I love about the company, the Thread, is the fact that they're using the friend referral as the key differentiator of dating, which is naturally the thing that works best. When you look at the eHarmony model, matching people on 40, 45 different elements, I mean, that's a little bit complicated and almost takes the romance out of dating, whereas the way they do it is so much more fun. It's the natural way people do it. But I think what Ezra alluded to, the big question is there revenue in it? Will people pay? For instance, in gaming, the thing that's happening is people don't pay for games, but as they get sucked into the different levels, they go and start buying virtual goods, and they want to go to the next level, and they want to do fun things, and they don't want to wait until they discover everything, and that has been one of the major ways of monetizing these games.
Well, I mean, there's no doubt people will pay for dating. They pay, like, Match makes $90 million a quarter when dating. It's $1 billion business.
Yeah.
So people will pay to do this. And the question I think is, will they pay for people they're already connected to?
Right.
I mean, if you already have that information and you just have to do a little bit digging, are you going to do that? Because when you get it on Match and eHarmony, there are other services. There's matching services. That's why they call them dating matchmaking sites. They actually look to see who your best match is. And and it also casts a wider net. You'll be able to find other people that you may not really want to. I mean, I don't know if I really want to know who all your friends are and whether I want to date your friends if I were single.
I also, getting to that point, I do think there is a comical residual quality to this, because these services track data and they connect to people and they have posts and they have different ways of seeing history now and creating history. Where something's happening offline or happening through a very private service, this is a very public process. So you can see a lot of interesting issues coming up with your whole dating thread, your whole history now in your what's happened, people knowing who you dated, and then I can see some really funny like wall posts like. This guy chews with his mouth open and never picks up a check and whatever. And all of a sudden,
you have to be careful what you publish on Facebook.
Yeah, so I mean, the funny thing is dating is a little bit of a private thing, and I don't think anybody traditionally wants the full information disclosed to everybody in the world.
One thing to say, like, Bob connected with Isabel as opposed to Bob hooked up with Isabel and Dana and Jill and everybody else.
So one idea, or one challenge I saw was that the last person you want to be connected with is the person you previously had a bad date with the night before. And that's the very last person you want to see involved in your social interaction for planning your next date. So they could definitely charge like a couple of bucks for the date removal feature. And you can see some funny conversations like when a date's going poorly and the guy looks at her and just goes, I know tomorrow you're going to delete me off your date history. I know it, don't do it.
And I think that brings up an interesting point, which is they really shouldn't be afraid to experiment. For instance, like imagine like this guy looks at this girl's profile 52 times and they know like it happened 52 times in 3 days. And they go to the guy, look, that girl's going to know, like you have to give us $5 for us to delete that history. And I'm sure he would be very interested in taking care of that one little detail.
Yeah, the stalking stuff. Or the swingers thing, can I get an email back that I sent at the wrong time in the middle of the night? And there's probably a bunch of funny features you could add that are sort of the quirks of the dating process.
I'm sure Brian can look to you two for more ideas.
Yeah.
I did meet Brian, so I think they definitely have that great founding team going for them. But initially, my excitement was not as rapid as their select team of investors, and maybe in a funny way, now that I'm married, it's kind of like, wow, like maybe 5 years ago it would have been a different perspective, and I would have been, oh yeah, this is interesting, but I wasn't as excited. And I think this is one of the fundamental issues with the Match.com dating model, which is, as people connect, will they date again? So that's, how do you create longevity in the product?
Couple more things here because we have to wrap it up. Just so business model, they're going to offer a lower subscription model than the $60 that you pay on eHarmony, something like that, or $40 you pay on Match. And they're also going to have some sort of premium services. Who viewed my profile, and I have to pay to actually see who viewed my profile, and maybe virtual goods.
Right.
So, give somebody a drink. What do you guys think about those different models?
There are some interesting examples. So I heard some really interesting stories from China and Russia where, for instance, one of the virtual good models that work is, let's say that you want to date a girl and you want to get their attention, so you pay like a little bit of money to send them a glitzy email, and then you go to the girl and like, this guy's a loser, you don't want his email, pay this money to deflect, and then, you pay for invisibility so you can look at people's profiles without them knowing that you're looking at the profiles, and you pay for that, and all these microtransactions add up. Now, It's apparent this is working in Russia and China because the companies that are doing this are making huge amounts of money. Question is, will it work on top of Facebook? The good thing is I think Thread can easily experiment with this and find out very quickly what's getting traction and what's succeeding because of obviously the platform and the opportunity it presents.
And I think, I would say there have been some innovations in the dating model. So Plenty of Fish, free dating service that got huge scale and has had quite a bit of success. Now I don't know what's happened with Woomi, but my guess is, since I don't know it, my guess is it hasn't been a huge takeoff trying to do the video speed dating thing. So I think there have been some folks who've tried, and some have worked and some haven't worked so well. So it's not a no-brainer. But I do think that the fact that leveraging Facebook, there's such a huge population of people on Facebook, I think there's a great opportunity for them to take advantage of the platform.
We got to wrap it up. So quick advice. They're funded by Facebook Connect, so I'd just say execute really well because you have an exit right there.
Right.
What's your advice?
I think my advice would be really focus on, in the early run, same to most early stage companies like this, the user experience and making sure that you're really creating something that has sticking power and that attracts people and keeps making the connection. So I think that not worry so much about monetization in the near term, really focus on creating a really high consumption model.
And the only thing I would add to that is, again, they have this huge advantage of being able to iterate and make their decisions database. And then I would say that in addition to dating, there might be other interesting segments where this model can actually create much more revenue potential, like recruiting, for instance.
All right. Okay. Well, Brian Phillips, CEO, that's our advice. But I think we collectively we've given this company a thumbs up.
Oh, that's great. I think it's great.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Okay. You've been watching Vator Box. I'm Bambi Francisco. We'll see you next time on Vator News.